of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Happy Wednesday and welcome back. We are here with another market report update. Dan is back today and we are so excited to dive into the cattle markets right now, the insanity that just is all markets right now. We touch on hog markets and you know what? There is some positives. We do end on a positive note in this episode as well. So let's go ahead and just get into this convo with Dan. And if you guys are interested in looking at any LRP coverage, anything like that, make sure you check out our show notes where I have our exclusive CattleUSA Insurance link and partnership with Logic Ag Marketing linked down below for you guys to check out and just stay up to date on all of the LRP coverage and everything like that. But as far as the markets are concerned, let's go ahead and get into this convo with Dan. How's your week been?
It's been wild, without a doubt. The most volatile markets the livestock have seen in a long time.
It has been a busy week, hasn't it? Been a little crazy.
Yep. Yeah. Who knew?
Who would have thought?
How about you? How was DC?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. It was insanely busy, but it was a lot of fun. So I felt so stinking bad that we couldn't record that podcast. I was like, of course, we pull up to the one spot in DC that has 0 bars of service, but oh well, it was good nonetheless.
Did you meet Trump, Elon, any of them?
I did not, unfortunately. I wish I did. That would have been cool. Like a really great experience in DC, but we did go by the White House while he was in it because they moved the barrier back like a whole street, not a whole street, like it's the width of the street. So instead of like you being able to go all the way up to the fence of the White House, you're only able to like go up to the sidewalk. So you've got like probably 20 yards further and they've got like all the Secret Service people and like all of that lined up. So we did walk by while he was in the White House, but that was as close as we got.
If he didn't have somebody out there waiting for you to get there, be like, Lauren, come on in.
I know, exactly. Where's our VIP access, right? We're so well connected. Should have had it. I know. Come on. Get one of those press passes for the White House.
Yeah. I think they're letting in, people on Twitter, people on TikTok.
Yeah.
Why not people from CattleUSA?
Exactly. That'd be so much fun. Be like exclusive interview with maybe not the president, but at least Caroline Leavitt. So
yeah, exactly. Well, glad it was a good trip. Good.
Oh yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad to be back though, back into routine, back into the groove of things. April's a freaking crazy month though. Like this is my only normal week in April, and then the rest of it is I'm all over the freaking place. So yeah, start of crazy busy spring season for me, but hey, I pray to be busy. So like I can't complain now that I am busy. So being busy is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, good deal. What do you want to talk about today?
Can we talk about anything other than markets?
Yeah, the weather's really nice outside today. Have you seen it? It's sun's shining here. It's like 70 degrees. I sat outside on the porch for a little bit.
Jeez, that sounds nice. No, we can talk about markets. It's crazy times. Volatility is through the roof. Obviously, we all know that stocks are pulling cattle down. Now you have a managed money puke fest going on. So for those of you new with futures and options, managed money, a lot of times, well, for the most part, they like to trade the long side of cattle, so they like to be buyers. When they don't like the market or they're nervous or they have fear or they want to take profit, any or all of the above, including when they need funds or capital somewhere else, they decide they have to get out. The only way to get out of a long position is to sell. That's what we're experiencing right now. The fundamentals of the cattle market truly have not changed. Demand is still, good. I wouldn't say excellent because we've lost our export demand, but we've got good demand. supply side is just as tight as it was a month ago when markets were raging to new all-time highs. So, it's hard to get doom and gloom in all of this, but I think everybody in this industry has seen the market sell off on managed money liquidation before and seen it pull the cattle market lower longer than what we anticipated, longer than what we would like, and that's what we're in the middle of right now. Cattle had every opportunity to rally today. Stocks were off their lows. They opened up strong, and inevitably they just got hammered from the sell side, managed money liquidation. So, the phone has been ringing nonstop. When does this end? When does this end? Where's the bottom? I want to buy it. The fundamentals haven't changed. I want to buy the cattle market. When? What price? There is no answer. Anybody stepping in and buying this market right now is stepping in front of a freight train because the path of least resistance at the moment is lower. In regards to the futures market, of course. Now, cash feeders in the sale barn, the big cattle, they've gotten a touch lighter. Some instances $10-20 cheaper. Your light grass cattle, of course, they're not softening, but it's grass fever season, so you weren't going to see them soften no matter, even if the world is on fire right now. There's a lot of players. Cattle were sexy to trade, honestly. Everybody was trading cattle for the longest time. We had 408,000 contracts of open interest in the cattle market. I think the record's north of 450, but long story short is there was a lot of money in the cattle. Everybody wanted to trade it. It seemed like it was too easy. You just buy and it went up and you made money. Now all of a sudden, it seems like it's too easy. You just sell, the market goes down. A lot of people getting out. They're taking their ball and going home.
So much fun. It's a great day.
Blast. And then on top of it, you had the opportunity. Sale barns, cash back cattle in the sale barns are choppy, but I want to call them steady. Like I said, you had that opportunity to have a strong close and a strong day today, but inevitably, managed money, they wrecked it right into the close. It opens the door for lower prices tomorrow. You get a bad close on the week, and this thing can probably has that chance to dip down in the 180s pretty easily. Feeder cattle, talk about a wicked market. We had 293, August feeders there a couple weeks ago when we were talking, and I think we were trying to pound home, put the LRPs on, keep adding that coverage. Now August is trading 277. It has risks still lower. I'd like to believe we're going to catch here pretty quick, but it wouldn't surprise me with the amount of money traded in the August feeder cattle contract. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that dip down in the low 60s. I'd like to be a buyer here pretty soon, but like I said, I'm not willing to step in front of a freight train just yet. So, what's your crystal ball say, Lauren?
I would love to have a crystal ball right here and be able to say that we're nearing the end and things are slowing down and we're going to see some plateaus here soon, but I'm not super hopeful on that personally. I'm not cautiously optimistic at the moment. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to be a little bit of a realist here. I think we're going to see shit hit the fan a little bit more than we already are. My personal thoughts.
Okay, all right. So
Lauren is not an optimist. Lauren is a pessimist. Dan, do you have any optimism to share with the people?
I do. I like trading the long side of cattle better. It's a lot more fun when this thing is ripping higher. I could have everybody hedged up and I would still hate a bear market. I do think eventually this thing slows down and pauses. It's not a fundamental puke yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not like all of a sudden there's a wall of cattle coming here in a week and the market's preparing for huge slaughter numbers and more fat cattle than we've seen in the last year or two. So it's hard for me to get doom and gloom. We had a similar sell-off like this fall of 2023, managed money got to a good size position, decided to take their ball and go home. The market inevitably sold off. I think we took 40, 50, maybe 60 bucks out of the feeder cattle market. Fat cattle, they did pretty hard. I want to say we took 20, 30 bucks out of the fats.
Mm-hmm.
But inevitably, we didn't go to zero. I'm not a guy that believes we're going to zero.
I don't think we're going to zero.
Well,
I'm not that pessimistic.
I was ready to go walk in front of that train outside, but no, well, that's good to hear. All right. No, we're on some shaky territory. You're not wrong. You might not. How do I put this? You could make $1 million right now with that attitude if it's correct. I mean,
Yep. I'm not going to go walk in front of the freight train and bet that, though.
Oh,
I'm going to keep my happy ass right here saying these things, but not have my ass on the line outside. So take that with a grain of salt.
No, that is fine. Inevitably, everybody needs to manage their risk. I mean, it's all fun. It's all, a blast when markets are screaming higher and you're looking at the calves standing in the yard are worth what they were. But inevitably, we've taken, from where feeder cattle were trading, we've taken more than $100 a head out of value away from those cattle.
Mm-hmm.
Is it over? I personally don't think so. Same with you. Do I think it catches soon? Yes. The nice part about a market that's this volatile is, straight up, straight down. Hopefully, we catch soon. We go straight down soon, and we catch soon. That's
Yeah, no, 1,000%. Any other specific numbers? Anything else we kind of need to go over today other than everything's kind of a disaster and we're hoping that it gets better?
Hog market is really a disaster for no reason, in my opinion.
What the hell, pigs?
Yeah, I'm confused by the pigs, which is common. But we don't sell a lot of hogs to China anymore, or a lot of pork to China anymore. Why we're all of a sudden worried about this tariff war that's really just ramping up now with China, it kind of shocks me. Mexico has been our biggest buyer, and it seems like Mexico is really playing ball. Stable wants to get a deal worked out. So to me, I'm not going to tell everybody to go out and buy hogs because obviously that's been the wrong move so far. But I think hogs are undervalued here. I don't know.
If there's one thing that I've learned with like all of these trade and tariff discussions, it is how gloriously undereducated we are as just a general community on trade and tariffs and our trade relationships within agriculture. So, like, for example, people are freaking out about China right now, which rightfully so. We do export a lot of things to them. They're a major exporter of our soybeans. Like, they play a very vital role in American agriculture. I'm not negating that. But they don't play a very vital role in the pork industry. They play a semi kind of vital role, not big player, in the cattle industry. And they haven't for a while. And that's because of our practices here in the United States that we're not willing to play ball with what they want with us. That's the same with the EU. And that's the same with like a lot of other countries that are trying to stiff hand us into certain practices, certain things that don't have any scientific backing and things like that, that the trade markets look very different in agriculture than they did 10 years ago currently. And a lot of people are freaking out thinking that they still look the same as they did 10 years ago. And it's a very different territory, very different world that we're living in. So, yeah.
Yeah, everything is constantly moving and changing. I think a month ago or whatever, a month or two ago, China was, $100 in value of the fat cattle, just on what they import from us. Long story short is with where our beef is trading, who cares?
Let them go. Yeah. We'll find that market somewhere else, and somewhere else that's going to pay us better and actually value our high quality American beef and not be complaining the whole time.
Correct. Yeah. If we could chase the EU, if we could slow down these imports from South America, from Australia, I
Mm-hmm.
think that benefits us. It's hard because I don't want to lose those middle meat exports, Vietnam, Japan. We don't want to lose those, but it sounds like a lot of these other countries are willing to play ball with Trump. So, let's cross our fingers and hope this works out, because there's a lot of money on the line right now.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I see everyone's stress. I have had some stress about this myself, but at the end of the day, it's all going to get figured out. And Trump is a businessman. He is just using really stiff business tactics, and his team is, to try and stiff hand other countries that have been kind of walking over us for a while. So, and that's one major thing we talked a lot about in DC, was the fact that, you may not fully agree with the viewpoints and everything that this administration is doing, but you can't negate the fact that they are doing business practices at the level of the government. So they're taking practices from Wall Street and being we're going to do it at the level of the federal government. And you know what? Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. I fortunately don't have my crystal ball here to tell you which way it's going to go. But at the end of the day, it's not like we're going to go into World War III. We're fine. People can calm down a little bit. We're not going to see an 2008 housing market crash right now. Okay. Things look different. It's all going to work out in the end, even if it feels like a shit show right now.
Yeah. Like I said, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of economy experts out there nowadays. When the market's doing what it does, everybody becomes an expert in this or that. I never pretended to be a stock market expert, but it feels like this is just more balancing portfolios, manage money, getting things situated the way they want. When it all shakes out, whether that be a week from now or a month from now, it's going to be back to business. Everybody goes to work, everybody's eating breakfast, lunch, and supper. We just need to all cool our jets and let managed money realize that, hey, cattle are at some point going to become a buy here instead of a sell.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I love it. That's a good way to end on some optimism. I love it. Anything else? Any other highs, lows, anything else we need to cover today? Or did we kind of hit the nail on the head on everything?
Corn's looking strong. I still like buying corn, but let's go corn.
Corn is having a good week. If there's anything that's winning right now, it's corn. So we can appreciate that at the very least.
Absolutely. Nope. Sounds good.
All righty.
On again.
Love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, to all of you listeners out there, thank you for joining Dan and I on another podcast and another little market update for you guys. And as always, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things. We really appreciate it here at the team. And if you are looking for any LRP coverage, anything like that, make sure you check out the show notes. I have our CattleUSA Insurance linked down there, and our partnership with Logic Ag and all of the things like that, so that you guys can go check it out for yourself and get in contact with the team. So thank you all for listening to another episode, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.